So, you want the loot grade. My name's Nostalgia, and I've been loot grading since it came out on DFO Global. A lot of people are confused and uncertain as to what exactly is going on during a loot grade. As such, I've made this 11-minute guide to teach you everything you need to know in order to have a successful and exciting loot grade. The first of the 6 steps for running loot grade successfully is to prepare. Run loot normals. You need to know ahead of time what the bosses are and what you're going to be up against. There's just too much going on to figure it out as you go during the raid. Now here you can see the different bosses that are going to be set up for phase 1 and the different buffs that are going to be applied to those dungeons. We'll go over more about that in a second. As you can see, phase 1 consists of 3 main dungeons. The 3 different sanctuaries are each going to have a random buff applied to them every day. Most of them you can ignore. This Sanctuary of Dispersion will either have Super Alloy or Anti-Magic. Super Alloy means do not send a physical party there. Anti-Magic means do not send a magical party there. And then the Sanctuary of Birth, this one, has a buff remover debuff. The other one doesn't really do anything, but the buff remover debuff is very annoying if you have a saint in the party, because it just removes any buffs you've received from another party member, like DI and Strike. Very annoying. Now you can see that we're going to all these side rooms because our goal during phase 1 is to break all these objects that are in the dungeons. So while you do the 3 clears you need for each sanctuary, you need to be looking for these generators and breaking them. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time come phase 2. These are pictures of what the generators look like for each dungeon. Yes, they are different in each dungeon, so you really have to keep an eye out for them. This is here because this room, that door up there, this is always fake. There's no generator up there. Don't go up there. It's a waste of time. Trust me, you see people do it all the time. The room is always a bait. So, when you clear all of them, all 3 sanctuaries, 3 times each, for a total of 9 clears for the whole raid for phase 1, and also skip this video, please. You get your phase 1 flip. Phase 1 flip is 4 to 6 dark sources. 5 dark sources and 1 Minoleum. Phase 2 is serious mode. This is where things actually get really tough very quickly. To start off, both parties each have to choose a route, and this is again where communicating with your team at the start and during the intermission between phase 1 and phase 2 is essential. Because one party's going to have to go down the light route, and the other party's going to have to go down the dark route. And once you commit, you're committed. That's it. You can't swap. No swapsies, no do-backs, no takeovers. I'm also going to begin skipping through some of these fights in the dungeons, just because Luke is full of time-wasting enemies and fights. So now, after both of the first dungeons for both routes have been cleared, there's something called the energy control room that opens up. So these next couple of dungeons will be affected by whether this dungeon, the energy control room, is up or not. So it features the lovely Iron Beast, and then on the other side, Metal Gear 2.0. So you have to deal with them in order to get the energy down. Now, you have to talk amongst the people in your raid to decide which party is going to do the energy first. And the other party will head into their next dungeon to set up in preparation for you guys to cut the energy. So, as you can see, we are going to wait here, and you can check the time in the top right corner and see when I skip and how long has passed. But you can see we're going to wait here for a good bit until they give us the signal that they're ready for us to cut. And then as soon as they're, we cut it. Now that the energy is cut, you need to make haste over to your dungeon. Now, your other party should be ahead of you and the leapfrog, so while you're working on your first dungeon, they will be working on their second dungeon, controlled by the energy. Now, we're going to fight Horus here. I'm going to have to skip like 3 times, just because he iframes and stuff. But you can see how long this fight takes with the energy down. And the reason that the energy is so important to have down is because if you didn't have the energy down, these guys, all the mobs, would be taking 1/4 of the damage that they should be taking with the energy down. So here we are, we're in our second dungeon now, and then our magical party that's doing the shadow route is cutting the energy for us, and we're waiting outside of the first mini boss for them to cut the energy. And then after they do that, we just storm our way to the boss room before the energy can respawn and just kill the bosses. Once you made it past those two dungeons, you don't have to worry about energy anymore. For now. However, you're not out of the woods yet, because the Red Clown is a raid killer. Thankfully, Chaos Boy is super good with that freeze, and he can just, boom, instantly get the clowns so that we can get a damage phase off of them. However, if you don't have the proper tools in your kit and the proper communication between the people in your party, you won't get that. You won't be able to do that gimmick. And if you can't keep those two clowns on their pedestals, you will not be able to deal damage to him, and you'll just be stuck there, wasting so much time on your clock. Razar is also kind of a pain, but as long as you are familiar with what's going on, she pretty much tells you what she's going to do. So just hang in there, pay attention, and try not to kill your teammates. After both the Sanctuary of Light and Darkness have been cleared, it's Luke time. The first dungeon that will open is Solia Machina Lumen, which means that the light route is up first. As soon as that party, the light party, enters Luke's actual room, the energy storage will open up. And that's a secondary dungeon that the party who's not fighting Luke will be entering. And we'll get to that in another minute. So there you can see we're breaking down his light shield, his light barrier. If you don't break that before the cast bar fills, you get reset. Don't get reset. And here you can see that the DPS are all standing close, so that the satyr who's furthest away can get the skill select shield. While that's on a character, they have specific skills chosen at random on their hotbar that they cannot use or they will die. Now you can see that our energy storage team now is actually just waiting for us to break down Luke's multi-hit shield. And that's indicated by the yellow flames on his back. Typically, by the time you get to that second light bubble, you should be able to break it, and you can see there it breaks, and so then we go all out to try to bring him down. Gotta be careful about the balls that he throws, because they will knock you up. And this is where it's very important that you're coordinating with your team holds, because as you can see there, like I missed my first awakening, because I didn't have anybody holding and he just iframed through it. But luckily, we didn't need it that bad. The energy storage is another dungeon where it's a make it or break it. If you can't do this, you can't beat loot grade. It's just not going to happen. The time window on it is so small that if you're making a lot of mistakes here, you're not going to be able to clear it. Yashin on the left is one of the huge reasons that people are unable to clear this dungeon, because he's such a time waster. His berserk, which is if you hold him too much, it takes so long. The only reason to ever berserk him by holding him is if he's doing the thing where he flips around the room, iframed, and you can't get any like damage on him. If you can't hurt him, you can't kill him, so you need to hold him, because after his berserk, he's vulnerable. So, again, that's one of those things where you need to be communicating with your party. And here we're just going to cut right away for our Kaligo party, because they were ready for it. The last dungeon that I'm going to talk to you about, and in my opinion, one of the most difficult in the entire raid, is Solia Machina Kaligo. This dungeon can have so much going on and so much going wrong at the same time that you really need to be paying attention to what your teammates are doing, to what Luke is doing, and just communicating with them to the best of your abilities. This is another one of those times where having your energy party waiting for your go-ahead to cut the energy is really important, because you can find yourself in a disadvantageous position when they're ready to cut, and you need them to hold on until whatever gimmick Luke is doing passes. So you can see, like here, we're positioning so that we can mitigate the effects of Luke's gimmicks, so that I'm trapped in the bubble, but I'm not just having the laser on top of me the entire time. It's being drawn away by somebody else. And then, when the shield passes, it's to somebody who's not being followed by the laser. Now again, you need to break this dark shield on him, And hopefully during this time, you're multi-hitting him to get that multi-hit shield down. And again, that's cued by the dark purple flames on his back. Now you can see here, we actually broke it too early, so we had to wait for it to go back up again so that we could work on multi-hitting him again, because it is time-based now, as opposed to previous patches of Luke where it was hit-based. So we just had our energy party hold on until like the last possible moment so that we could make the most of their cut. You can see here, my teammates actually berserked him during the damage phase while he was throwing balls at us, and that's going to kill our Indra, which is bad. And again, here we berserk him while other stuff is going on. So you just really got to be paying attention for that and talking with your teammates so that that doesn't happen. Thanks for watching and good luck.